Hello my loves, I hope you're okay and you're having a nice day. In today's video we are going in with a girl talk Q&A and chit chat video. This has kind of been inspired by a post I did just the other day on being on your period and bloating, and I feel like I've had a lot of similar conversations in my DMs recently just about girly things like periods, bloating, hormones and relationship advice, things like that. So I felt like I could go a bit more in depth. To be honest, I'm really surprised I haven't done one of these girl talk videos before. As I was growing up, I grew up in a male dominant household, so I was raised by my dad and I had an older brother, and I really craved like a motherly, womanly figure in my life, which I didn't have as my mum passed away when I was super young, and I had a lot of questions that obviously my dad couldn't necessarily always answer, and as I was going through puberty and starting my periods, having these hormones, and then getting my first boyfriend, that kind of thing, I really craved someone to talk to. And I feel like for my younger audience, if by doing one of these videos could help just one person, that would be amazing. So yeah, I just put a question box over on my Instagram, and then I have got a bunch of stuff. There's quite a lot of different types of questions as well. There's some ones about sex, some about body image. Nothing is off limits. We're going to talk absolutely everything in this video. I'm quite looking forward to it, so grab yourself a glass of wine, a coffee or a cup of tea, a green tea, whatever you fancy. So first question is, did you ever lose your period? No, so I've never lost my period. I'm generally super regular with my periods, and your periods are just an indication of everything is running smoothly and efficiently. So if you're someone who has lost your period, I would advise you to get professional medical advice and go to your GP because there's something not right or an imbalance, and yeah, that is a really strong indication. How to deal with trust problems in relationships. So this one's super broad, isn't it, really? I would say it depends where you're coming from. Say if you've got trust problems in your new or current relationship from an old relationship, I would say you need to really communicate with your new boyfriend, girlfriend by sitting down and just being open and honest about maybe certain triggers or certain things you want to work on. Say if you feel a little bit insecure in an area, I would just communicate. I think that's the best way. Then on the other hand, if you're having trust issues because of your boyfriend, girlfriend lying, then that's a real issue. For me, I would never be in a relationship with someone who lies. I just think that is just an absolute no-go. And in one of my first relationships when I was younger, I was with this guy for a while who was a compulsive liar, and he had a lot of mummy issues, I'm gonna say. I'm thankful for that relationship because it taught me so much, and since then I've never ever and would never put up with someone who lies. Next one is, what do you think is the most attractive thing in a person? It's probably someone who is really genuine, authentic, and has a really nice positive energy. I feel like that's the most attractive thing in any person, whether it be for a partner or a best friend. That's something I really appreciate. What do you use when not on the pill? How not to get pregnant? So if you're not on the pill, I would definitely make sure you use some form of protection, such as a condom. The pull-out method is not 100%, so yeah, definitely use a condom or look at other contraceptive methods. Definitely don't risk it if you're not wanting to get pregnant, for sure. Advice after moving in with your boyfriend. So Mason and I moved in together literally a week after knowing each other. We've been together over 3 years now and lived together ever since. The max we've ever spent apart is probably 2 weeks that entire time. My top advice for moving in with your boyfriend would be communication. Through and through, don't bottle things up. Say if there's something that's sort of annoying you, just communicate that. So I've been guilty of that in the past. Say if it'll be little things when he shaves his chest or something, he gets hair all everywhere, and for a while I just kind of like ignore it, and then it was really annoying me, and then it was like an accumulance of things. So I'd just say communication is key and so important in when you're like moving into a new living situation, because it can be super intense, obviously, especially if you've lived on your own before or like with family and you're kind of like you've got your own ways, and know that it's got to be a two-way street. Like, we're not always going to be perfect. There's things that I do that really annoys Mason and vice versa, so it's just some give and take. But is it expensive to live in Dubai? So this is actually a bit difficult because things like grocery shopping I definitely think is more expensive here. I've really noticed that, but after like shopping around and finding like grocery stores that I like, you can find stuff cheaper, but yeah, on a whole, it's like grocery shopping is definitely more expensive. But in terms of rent, I'm gonna say as like a ballpark price, like I'd say it's very similar to London prices. However, you can get cheaper places like slightly further out of like the Dubai like city kind of area for much cheaper. You can make it whatever you want to, really. I find that's like most places though, like a lot of people can generalize. Like, of course, if you want to live slap bang in the city, like in the mix of things, it's going to be much more expensive, just the same as like London. In terms of visas, yeah, they're pretty expensive, but it just depends how long you want to stay for, obviously, and then what you're doing for work. Like, you might be able to, if you're wanting to work over here, you could get a visa with work. Have you ever faced negative comments, and how have you managed to deal with it? Yes, I've definitely faced some negative comments. It's just bound to happen with putting yourself out online. You can't avoid that, and you can't get caught up in that. When I got my first few, I remember feeling so upset and taking it super personal. Obviously, you can't please everyone, but also the people that do comment negative things, they don't know you personally. They just see what you like, what snippets you put out onto the internet. So I never take it too personally now. Okay, next one is, don't know if this is too much TMI, but shaving the downstairs area. Right, okay, no, that is not too TMI. That shaving down there is like the bane of my life, I must admit. But basically, last year I started getting laser. I had it on my underarms and down there, like complete Hollywood. I think I had 2 sessions down there, and then I've had more on my armpits, which has been good. Like, I've definitely noticed I have fewer hairs, but I'm definitely like down there, I'm probably gonna need about 10 more sessions to be completely bald. Top tips for shaving would be to use like a conditioner. I don't know why me and shaving foams just don't get along, so I use a conditioner down there, and if I'm using a razor, I use a really soft what is it? It's like a blue one. I think, is it a Gillette? I'll try and insert a picture of the one that I use, because that is the only one that I get along with. We all have different skin types as well. I'm relatively sensitive, but not so much that I don't often get a lot of like ingrown hairs. So yes, I try and shave every 3 days down there. Lasers really helped, and I would really recommend laser, especially like on your bikini line area. So I'm all about getting in like every position possible to get every little hair gone. But just some advice, like, I wouldn't recommend shaving every day down there, because you don't want to like irritate your skin. I feel like you can never get a clean shave if you shave every day, if you know what I mean. You get that weird like stubble kind of thing. And also, I wouldn't recommend wearing super tight underwear. Like, I always get like quite loose underwear in a sense, so it's not completely like constrictive, because that can cause ingrown hairs. So next one is, are you an introvert or extrovert? So I would actually say I'm a very strong like 50-50 in this. I feel like when I was younger, I was way more of an extrovert. I've always been quite confident, like from a child, and I feel like from my childhood, and then as I've got older, I would say I'm more like particular with who I share my energy with, shall we say. I've got a relatively small circle of friends, but at the same time, I'm like the chattiest person. Like, I will go out of my way to speak to anyone, and I love like meeting new people. So yeah, I feel like I'm definitely a bit of both, but I love my own company at the same time. Easy gym hairstyles for long hair, which should stay put even during cardio. I did have like super long hair, and then I started bleaching it, so it's a bit shorter now. But one of my favourite gym hairstyles is a low ponytail. I do sometimes do a high pony, and then I'll just get these little bits of hair. this is what I do. That's my like favourite gym hairstyle. It does get a little bit sweaty sometimes, like the back of your neck, but my hairdresser actually informed me, and I'm quite glad she did, like it can be quite bad for your hair to be having it in like a tight bun up on top. Like you can cause yourself quite a lot of split ends, which I didn't really know. Like I often used to sleep with my hair in like a bun, and I never realised that could be actually quite damaging. So I always opt for a low like a low bun. Comparing yourself to others online, there are so many beautiful people online. I feel like we can all fall into a loop maybe sometimes of like comparing-itis or something. I don't know if I've just made that up maybe. I think that can be easy to do, but you've just got to remember like you're so unique. There is not one person like you on this whole planet, which is what gives you your uniqueness and your specialness, and you need to embrace what you have. I feel like when I was younger, I've definitely had a lot more insecurities. I feel much more confident in myself now, but that's only from like practicing inner work, like daily affirmation. I'm going to do in my morning routine, and I'll explain what I do in a daily to sort of help with my mindset, because there's always going to be someone who in your eyes is more beautiful than you. With confidence and self-love in general, you've really just got to realise like how unique and special you are as you are. You are beautiful. You don't need to be like anyone else. I feel like I grew a lot more confidence when I embraced that. When you had like your life experiences, gone through your tough times, gone through your good times, and a body doesn't bring certain happiness. Like I feel like I realised that as well. Like when I was younger, I thought the day that I would get obliques and abs, like I would be the happiest and I'd feel different, when in reality like a body doesn't bring you direct happiness. So I feel like you've just got to embrace like that person that you may be comparing yourself to probably has an insecurity about something. Like you can't always like not win in that sense, but I just think it's a lot of wasted energy if you spend comparing your life to someone else's. His best relationship advice you can give to women. First one, I feel so strongly about this, to never ever settle for any less than you deserve. If someone ever lies to you, is disloyal, get rid straight away. Don't mess about. That person is not for you. You deserve so much more than that. That would be my first one. And also just remember like how your relationship is built on trust, and without that literally there's no relationship. Also don't ever dim yourself down if you feel like someone sort of like dampens your light. Like again, get rid. One is, have you ever been through a serious breakup? So I was in a relationship, like I said, when I was super young, with this guy who I don't even want to give any airtime, to be quite honest to. I was quite rebellious. When I was like 15, 16, I met this guy, and then I actually moved out of like my family home, and my dad disowned me for, I think it was just under a year, as well as like my family. It was a really weird time, to be honest, and I was in a really toxic relationship. And then when I moved to London, like that is when I cut ties. I just wanted a fresh start. So that was a breakup. Do you get pre-period low points mentally? It seems I always get it up to 1 week before. Yes, I absolutely do. I can feel it in myself. My emotions are all over, and I definitely get that like every single month without fail. It's always when I feel my lowest, and I know how hard it can be to sort of like shift that or to like prevent that. I think you've just got to go through the motions. I've got to sort of like ride the wave with those feelings. Have your like little cues and stuff to turn to when you're feeling a bit low and stuff. Just write down like what you are proud of the most, what makes you the happiest, who you love the most. I feel like just going back to stuff like that helps. Do you know of any good vaginal supplements or probiotics? Wow, I've actually I've never really come across one of those before. All I know is like, I guess, a cleaning product that is less evasive as like a shower gel, so like Femfresh. But I don't know supplements actually or probiotics, but I'm sure there's loads of stuff like online for that. How do you know whether a guy is worth it or wasting your time? Lol. Right, I'm gonna say this, and I literally had this conversation with Mason the other day. We were talking about like couples, I guess, if there's one thing I wish I could go and tell my younger self, would be to always trust your intuition and your gut feeling. You always know, especially as a female, you know when a guy is wasting your time. Your senses tell you, I swear to God. And look out, obviously there's the red flags that will crop up straight away, but just be careful not to, like, not necessarily kid yourself, but I know how easy it can be. Say if you really like someone, you kind of take every little thing, like anything sort of positive, and you really like dwell on that, when in reality deep down you might know that that person is not for you. You'll know if a guy's interested in you, like given like what effort he puts in. Silly, but do you get hit on in the gym? You're so pretty. Oh, that is so kind of you, thank you very much, you are gorgeous. Yeah, this one I don't even know, what would you class as hit on? Like, I feel like well, the gyms in the UK have been like on and off shut, but I've had people come over and like make conversation, but it's usually like friendly stuff. It's never like gross things. And then if that ever happens, like Mason usually just sort of like comes over, and it's usually just like a harmless like conversation. But half the time I've always got my headphones in and I'm just in my own zone, so I wouldn't really like notice that sense. But there is the odd like weirdo that even in some of my YouTube videos, like there was one point where a guy was literally like had his phone, I had my camera, I was filming my workout, and someone had his phone and was like videoing, which was a bit weird. I feel like I have gone on a few tangents there. I really hope you enjoyed this like different styled video and just doing something a bit more light-hearted. Let me know if you'd like to see any more videos, or if you've got any other like questions. I am more than happy. I love talking about things like this, and just doing different style content is super fun for me as well. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this one. Pop any comments that you have down below and I'll get back to you, and I'll see you in the next video.